Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry. I am a blue dot in a red state utilizing Tarot to help us navigate these very interesting times that we have going on here in the United States. So I appreciate you being here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is the Trump parade. You can tell I'm thrilled about looking into this. Whenever I first saw that, I was just like, he wants a stupid parade, with the military and all the, bells and whistles and, tanks and whatever. All the military parade. And he's using it as it's for the, 200 years of the Army, but it's also his birthday. So I want to look at that. There are a lot of problems with this parade. Cost would be one. I mean, here we have American families are suffering, veterans are suffering, and you're going to throw yourself a damn parade. So there's that, and then there's the cost of it, and then there's what the damage that it's going to do to the roads. So yeah, Rachel Maddow did a great segment on it, and she was about as thrilled as I am. I think about doing this thing about his little parade that he wanted in the first era that he had, and it was like he wanted a tank, or he wanted all the military thing, and they couldn't do it because it tears up the roads, and so they pulled one out on a semi truck and set it up. Anyway, it was stupid. But he had it. So I want to look at, is he gonna get his little parade for the first part of this? And then the second part, in case you haven't seen Indivisible and 5051 and all the other groups that have been coordinating the protests, conveniently have a protest scheduled for that day. No kinks. So I'm going to look at his little parade that he wants, and then I also want to look at the protests that will be coming up. I normally don't do them this far in advance, but I was just curious, and I may do a follow-up on this as we get closer. But Trump parade, as always, these are for entertainment purposes only. Looking into Trump's parade on June 14th. Okay, are we ready to be entertained? Entertainment purposes only. The center of that is he wants his parade. That's victory. This is a victory card, victory in battle, and this is him wanting to show off his, show off the military. So that's at the heart of this. The challenge is going to be, it's interesting that the Six of Cups comes up, because this is a card of returning to happier times. It's a card of nostalgia. It's a card of the past. And if you look at and I'm trying to remember, who was it that warned of the military-industrial complex, and the president that said, we don't want parades, literally every president before this in some way has said some version of, we're not doing this. And so that's the feeling I'm getting, is that we don't have to show our might. We show it through our actions, not some stupid parade. And I'm not talking our actions as far as, declaring war on countries. We're not going to take over Canada. I'm talking about the soft power that we have had in the world. And that he's abdicated that because he doesn't think that shows strength. Whatever. So, yeah, I get this feeling of, look to the past, look at our history, look at what previous presidents have said about this kind of, display. Okay, that's what I'm feeling with that. Options. Oh, he has options. Somebody actually could be telling him no. Right now, they were saying they were planning, however many tanks and vehicles and soldiers and all that. But I'm kind of wondering, because this is somebody is like the sort of truth. It's also legal or military, but the options, he's got so many options that he doesn't have to do this, ruining the streets and this display of just waste. It's wasteful is what it is. And I'm wondering if somebody's going to maybe appeal to that, to, we do not need to be doing this, like read the room, there. And he's not. He's not reading the room. This is, I think people are trying to put a stop to it, and he's not listening. He is not listening. Recent influences, he wants to show that we are the greatest country in the world. Okay. That's these recent influences. And also, and it's been reported, he's fascinated by the, Russian and North Korea and probably China. If you're impressed by countries like Russia and North Korea, you might want to rethink who your role models are there. Okay, that's what I'm feeling with this. So, and the potential or outcome with this is, I think that he's going to have some version of this stupid parade. If there's anybody from the military watching this, I want to, 100% supportive of the military, 100% not supportive of a, just display like this. Okay. And it's a waste of money. This is not what, this is not what we do. We do not do this. We do not, no. So, but I think that, let me just ask, is he going to get his little parade? And his parade, hands are tied, things come to a rest. Maybe this card is like they tell him no and he doesn't get it, or he gets some, like a smaller version of it. We know that he's concerned about crowd sizes, and so the size of his parade, he may not like that it is a smaller parade. A lot of times when it comes to Trump, I get this as, drunk on power. And it's kind of like, but these are like his hands are tied. It doesn't happen. This is a state of rest. Like it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen. I wonder. So what is it that is he just told no? Because that's almost the like what I'm getting here is like he's told no. I think does Congress. I think somebody is appealing to him like there's a better way. Like they're gonna do like instead of this, let's do this. They're trying to placate him. It's like a damn toddler, Here, if you give me that crayon, I'll give you this crayon, or let's trade toys so that you could go hide the noisy toy. I mean, the parents of toddlers, we've been there. We know we know how to do that. So it's almost that's the feeling I'm getting is that somebody's telling him this would be a waste of money, and we need to do something else. This is a bad optic for you right now. And the burden card. So yeah, somebody's going to appeal to maybe saner ideas with that. He's really wanting that parade though. I just don't know that it's probably not gonna be as big as what he wants. It's not gonna be the size that he wants. So let's look at the counter protest. I am curious about the counter protests on that day. The No Kings protests. What will those look like? And the No Kings protests, people coming together, having a great time, happy home. That's, what this is. And the challenges, are there going to be any challenges? I don't think so. It's like we come together, it's like a big party. Nights, changes, cups, emotions, happiness, friendship. So the protests coming together in friendship for, positive change, peaceful protests. The options, I think that MAGA might be, you start seeing some of the polling numbers. Diehard MAGA are going to stay in that camp. The MAGA, these are going to be the outer edge MAGA, the ones that voted for, lower grocery prices. I think this is going to be, they're starting to see that Trump is not doing what they voted for. I had another reading about the city commissioner. Yeah, city commissioner in Orlando switched his party affiliation. And part of why he said was this was not the party I signed up for. You're going to start getting, and so I was asking about protests. Protests are growing because we're now getting more people coming into, as I said, the people that maybe the independents and maybe actual Republicans that voted for Trump because, they thought that he was going to be good for the economy. He is not good for the economy. The past experiences are, the government. So these protests are, we know what a government is supposed to do. It's supposed to be, of the people, for the people, by the people. That's what this is. And the past. So that's what we're protesting against, the oligarchs, and no kings. Okay? No kings. The recent influences, a more practical approach is needed. Okay, the messaging is, and these protests, I mean, they've got them like it's like the bigger protests are being organized about every 2 weeks, but then you also have the weekly Tesla protest. The weekly, I know where I live, they alternate between the Social Security office and the Veterans Department, or the Veterans Building is where they're alternating, and that's weekly. Okay, so even me in a red state, in a red area, weekly protest, okay, going on. So yeah, these protests are just growing as the message gets out. And the potential for these protests shedding a light on this situation. These protests, if you see, they're not only, they're growing, but they're growing in rural America. They're growing in red America. They're growing in areas where they voted for Trump. And, lower gas prices is what they voted for, not some stupid military parade. And if you've got empty shelves in the grocery store and you have prices going up on the groceries that are in, what groceries are in the grocery stores and what things that are on the shelves are going up in price, and you have the protests that are growing in contrast to a delusional wannabe dictator spending, wasting how much money on a stupid military parade. I mean, it is like, if there isn't any more of a let them eat cake moment than that, I don't know what is. So yeah, the outcome is just those protests are going to grow. And I think that they overshadow the parade. Well, that would be so sad. So I just 3 cards on what's Trump going to think about these protests versus, overshadowing his parade. The protest. And he's gonna double down. He's gonna be like, oh, they were all celebrating the parade. It's like, no, we weren't. Page of Swords. This is pages, messengers, and swords is like action. But this is not somebody you want to go into battle with. Okay? Trump doesn't have a clue. It's like he's playing at being a military leader. And and I'm gonna see, this is the protest, our message, the message of looking out into the world. What do we want? Looking down, directly looking at the wannabe dictator and saying no. And so, what does Trump think about it? I think just more erratic behavior, more of the same. He's not. And it's interesting that would come up as a page, just because I think he's realizing he's lost the people. He's realizing that. Whether he wants to admit it or not, probably not. So, excuse me. Okay, so I will probably be doing a follow-up on this as we get a little bit closer to June 14th, because I'm thinking that there's going to be, with what's coming up here, it's like, it's good to want. I know that you want your parade, but I don't think that's going to happen. If it happens, it's not going to happen like in that big grandeur, display that he's wanting. I think that somebody around him is going to be able to talk some sense into him and be like, people are paying, how much on, shelves, if shelves are empty, groceries are going to skyrocket, all of that stuff. And maybe having a parade is not the right thing to do right now. I don't think he's going to listen to that. He may tone it back a little bit. That's about all I'm seeing here. But the protests, on the other hand, they are going to be out in full force. We are going to be out there, in, peacefully protesting. And that is really what's going to take center stage on June 14th. So, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I will put up more videos for you to check out, and also subscribe. Like this video if you would. I really appreciate it. It helps grow my channel as I'm doing this. So, thank you for joining me, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.